In this video, I'm going to tell you the reason why I canceled 3 Swiss bank accounts for Nomad Capitalist. Hi, my name is Rusudan. I have been working at Nomad Capitalist for 3 years, and one biggest part of my job is to make sure that we have good banking infrastructure, and opening bank accounts is a big part of it. Just to give you some background, biggest part of what we do for our clients is, of course, making sure that they have enough options with banking, and the best way to do it is for us to also be very involved and do a lot of research with that and see what are the options out there, because as you see, banking system really evolves and it changes, and they are having like additional requirements. Some criteria always change, so it is important to keep up to date with the information and what are the new requirements and what are the new options, because some banks no longer work with certain people and some banks work with new audiences. So it's very important for us to stay up to date on that, and it is one of the parts of my job or my daily tasks to make sure that if there are new options, I'm aware of that, and if there is a better option for us, we take that on. And as part of that research, a few years back, we decided to start working on opening a Swiss bank account for Nomad Capitalist, to have that like diversified bank account. Like, of course, when you're talking about banking, Swiss bank account is one of the first that comes to mind because of their traditional way of banking, because of the privacy that they provide, and even with the current pressure from different institutions to offer more information, I think that Swiss banks are still maintaining most of the privacy that they offered almost 100 years. Having said that, the first thing that we did at that time was research which bank would be the best option. We chose a couple, and then the ordinary course of action is for us to speak with the bank, and there are lots of forms that Swiss banks provide. There are lots of details. I think that it's not restricted to only Swiss banks, but I do, from my experience, see that maybe Swiss banks are a bit more granular, and I must say that I think that most of the Swiss banks prefer to work with wealth management and investment accounts. There are not a lot of transactional banking. Like, there are of course a lot, but not as many as like wealth management and investment banking opportunities. Of course, they have a certain minimum requirement for the bank balance, and that is maybe on a higher end compared to some other jurisdictions. But at that time, we thought that just having this bank account and just the experience of opening it, maybe it was one of the reasons that we got started on that. And from like experience-wise, I think that it was one of the biggest learning opportunities for the team to go through the process with the bank. Because of the history of Swiss banks, I think that they are more demanding, but also they are not really fast. And here at Nomad, we are really used to solving all the situations and taking quick actions and really not waiting around. And then when you start working with Swiss banks who like take months and months to review your application, and then you come back with the additional questions, and then the whole back and forth starts with the information exchange. I think it was a very jarring experience for us, and when we opened the account, that didn't set a very good tone of how the communication would continue in the future, because even if you don't like do anything special with the bank account, you still have to coordinate with banks. Like, sometimes they have some questions, sometimes they have to renew the KYC, or like there's a specific question about the incoming transaction or outgoing transaction. So there is certain level of expected communication, and when you have an experience of like 6-8 months of no replies for 2 weeks, you feel like it's how is that going to work when I actually am using the bank account? Even if somebody told me at that time that, you know, they reply within 24 hours, I would just not believe them, because I had experience of like not getting an answer back from the bank for quite long, like we're talking weeks. So that really was not something that would work like on a transactional level. So that's why it was one of the reasons the delay and overall like timeline there. Even if the expectations were set correctly, you have to think about like, is it something that I can work with? Like, if I have an account with them and I need to make an outgoing payment and they are asking about some question, like, can I allow myself days to wait without an answer? Like, is it something that's gonna work with my rest of my business operations. And for us, for Nomad Capitalists, it was not something that could align with us. So that's why it was one of the reasons that we decided not to cancel the bank account. By that time, it was already end of 2022, I guess. Then we still tried the second time at the end of 2023 with different banks. And we also went into the whole process with better set expectations. We've done that before, so we know it's going to take long. We've been doing that for Nomad Capitalist for over like 10 years, so it's not the first time for us. So basically, the moment I started the conversation, I had all the documents ready, I had all the information ready. So it's not like we took few months to gather the information. Like, you have everything ready, and it's still taking you more than 6-8 months. And then some regulations changed, some things became even more stricter. So the whole explaining, like, let's say, source of income, and you still have to send everything in paper and answer all the questions, and like, it's to be expected with any bank. But that combined with the timeline and just general attitude, I would say, from the banks, and the limitations also, because they prefer if you don't use it for transactional purposes. They are not cheap, so you're basically paying a lot more than in other jurisdictions. You have to be patient in regards to communication. The maintenance and the overall like bank account opening process takes longer, more effort and resources from you. Basically, I can summarize and say that the timeline was the issue with bank accounts, like how long it took for us to open the bank account. Also the communication, like I would say just the different style of communication, because you have Swiss banks and you have an alternatively some other bank that has an online platform where somebody's always replying to you, and it's really quick, and there are lots of features online that you do not even need to call them. So here we have the reasons why we decided to cancel 3 Swiss bank accounts. This is what we do here at Nomad Capitalist. We make sure to go through the processes ourselves so that we can provide the practical experience and the knowledge based on that to our clients. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our YouTube channel.